Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles. This is my tag team partner, Crash Holly.
Thanks, Hardcore. Name's Gary Rhodes.
And we're going to talk mainly about the Raw show the other night, which actually was a really good show in my opinion.
One of the best in years.
And it started off pretty lame. It had a slow start. It had John Cena coming out being the Boy Scout.
Well, the thing is, I was looking, if you seen his arm, and it was pretty swelled up, pretty decent. So, I don't see him coming back by Hell in a Cell.
Well,
that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later because I have something that happens later I think is a fail-safe for that.
Exactly.
But anyway, then after that we had Ryback versus the Clones, Epico and Primo.
And destroyed them.
Destroyed them. It's something that I was kind of upset about because the Clones are a decent tag team.
Exactly.
And you're trying to build up the tag team division, but you're letting them get destroyed by Ryback.
Just give them two jobbers again. You don't have to kill two guys' career to build one guy up at once.
No,
that's
you
just
don't.
stupid.
I mean, and he could fight where he could beat a regular guy. It's not a big loss for someone like Miz to lose to him or, established guys. But I didn't like it for what it was. Ryback is getting over with the crowd. I think they're starting to rush its push a little bit, and we'll get into that later again. After that, we had Brodus and R-Truth came out and danced with each other and danced with little Jimmy.
Well, that's one thing that Vince brought up when he came out after the fact. Is like, you have a whole hodgepodge of crazy stuff going on here, and it all fits to the company.
And it brought out Vince, which came out. It was face Vince, which I don't. I like Vince no matter what. He definitely brings attention to the show, but I'd rather heel Vince have came out. I like heel Vince a lot better. I would have liked to see Vince fire somebody, all the classic Vince stuff. Maybe someone joins the Kiss My Ass Club.
Well, I heard he was going off backstage, so maybe they were joining the Kiss My Ass Club back there.
Well, it is rumored, and this is off the show, that he fired Brian Gerwitz. Well, didn't fire him, but Brian Gerwitz has a different position now. He's no longer the head writer. And that's a guy that's been the writer for the last 12 years. Now, I haven't seen who the head writers are going to be. I'm not 100% sure, so I did see, I just don't remember. But they did get rid of Gerwitz as the main writer for WWE.
I think, Vince got some talented people there that could do some good writing that would help out a company.
Like Paul Heyman?
We just fixing to say that, yes. I think Paul, give Paul a bigger role.
Well, I kind of like the idea. You fire Gerwitz, not that he did a bad job, just that you get fresh, you get burnt out doing a job like that, where you have to make 4 or 5 shows a week.
I seen an interview with Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara, and they said it themselves. Well, this thing they said doesn't make a lot of sense. He says every 4 to 7 years they should fire the writing staff and start over from scratch, because an average fan has a 7-year period.
Exactly, and we're not average. We like different.
Exactly, but it'd be different than what we got now.
And speaking of Vince, he came out. Was coming out to do the State of the Union, which brought out
CM Punk.
And they went at it at each other. CM Punk did most of the talking. Ended up smacking Vince in the face, which is, to me, it's a sign that they really trust Punk, because Vince doesn't really work with guys. Other than guys he really trusts to be main eventers. I mean, if you look back at the history, the guys he's worked with is like Hogan, Shawn, CM Punk, Austin, Hunter, and that's about it.
The thing I like about it is a lot of people talk bad about CM Punk's title reign because he didn't close the shows on a lot of the events, on a lot of pay-per-views. But the thing is, look at the caliber of matches he put on. Yeah. Look at the guys he was wrestling, and look how great those matches were.
Exactly.
Jericho, Bryan, even Cena. He dragged the best out of Cena. Kane. Yeah. He's made all these guys look like gold, and he really is not getting no respect by the writing staff.
No. And then after that, we had the team that we were referred to as Dos Patos Locos, Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio versus the Prime Time
Players.
You know what? Go ahead, Teddy. They want to see it.
I know, but when you ask for it, it just... Hold on, playa. tonight's main event is going to be a tag team match. You don't like that? Well, how about this? You can go 1-on-1 with the Undertaker. There you go. Are you happy now? Are you happy now?
Yes. Ray and Sin Cara win.
But as you know, you figured they would.
Ray and Sin Cara win to go into the finals for the #1 contendership. And then after that, we had Sheamus and Barrett in a really, really good match. I think this was the match of the night. As far as wrestling wise.
No, it's a close second. I think I have my idea for another match, and when we get to that match, the next match.
But I mean, they were both really good.
Oh, they were solid matches.
Sheamus has stepped up the level of his matches to a whole nother level. He's really bringing it up. The only thing is, I don't think he's working so well as a face.
No, and the thing is, the one thing I like right now with Barrett is he's prime and ready to go for a good run. I think just a little bit more, with a good
seasoning.
Exactly, just a little bit more seasoning on it, and I think the man's going to be a big name.
The thing I liked is they didn't kill either one's push. They brought out Tensai, who attacked, and then Big Show had his little thing.
Grab your foot.
Great. It was a great match. I mean, Sheamus and Barrett worked really well together, and then the match that you liked, I liked that better, but you liked the next one.
I like Cesaro versus Kid. I think that they were doing great against each other. Cesaro didn't really get a chance to show his best last week when he squashed Rhodes Clay, which was good anyways. I mean, I like seeing him get over. But he really let Kid shine this whole match. Because you're only as good as what you make your opponent look. And I think they both look like $1 million in that match. It could have gone a little bit longer, but other than that, I think it was great.
I think they look great together. It showed off a little bit more of Cesaro's strength. Because looking at him, he's about the same size as Wade Barrett. But he's a hell of a lot stronger than Barrett. If you've watched any of his work in the independents, especially Ring of Honor, he was tossing around bigger guys like he did with Brodus last week, like they were nothing. And I like that they're showing he's not a weightlifter, but the guy's cut up, he's solid.
I like that gut wrench he does. I mean, he just holds him in a gut wrench, and he's not even straining, not even sweating, holds it, and then just boom, drops him.
The only thing I don't like is he's got big nipples.
Okay, John Cena. I mean,
that was retarded.
Yeah, I didn't even really want to go over what he said at the beginning of the show to give it any kind of clout, but that was retarded. You're putting down a great wrestler, and all you could do is, put down because he has big nipples. Who cares? You have a caveman's forehead, John Cena.
And speaking of Kid, I don't know. They keep seeming to go on and off with his tag team with Gabriel, whether it's going to be a team or not. And that reminds me, our question of the week from last week. Who do you think was the best tag team specialist? Now, we got some answers from friends of ours. The first one's from the Mass Tweeter, and I really liked his answer. A bit old school, but Tony Gurria worked with so many different wrestlers and captured tag team gold with many different partners. Rick Martel, Haystacks Calhoun, Dean Ho, and Larry Zbyszko. A tremendous, tremendous pick, Tweeter. It's someone that even I overlooked, and that's saying a lot. But he was a tremendous worker, a tremendous talent. He worked as an agent for a long time after his career was over. He was a big, huge tag team talent in the 70s, and he fits perfectly into the question.
Oh, he does. I mean, he really made Rick Martel who he was.
And Dean Ho, too. And Zbyszko. This was before Zbyszko beat Bruno. So he really helped solidify Zbyszko's career. Then we got another one from our friend Never Meant to Fade. One that comes to mind off the top of my head is Stan Lane. He was in 3 great tag teams and won titles and drew big with all 3. The Fabulous Ones with Steve Kern, the Midnight Express with Bobby Eaton, and the Heavenly Bodies, which a lot of people don't know because that was the Heavenly Bodies he was in wasn't the Heavenly Bodies in WWF. He was in the Heavenly Bodies in Smoky Mountain.
Well, the Heavenly Bodies in Smoky Mountain were there too, but he just Jimmy Del Rey replaced him.
It was him and Dr. Tom Pritchard, and they didn't go to WWF. It was Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey and Dr. Tom Pritchard that went as the Heavenly Bodies. But in Smoky Mountain, he worked with them, and I think they even brought in Bobby Eaton a little bit as a third member of the Heavenly Bodies, which was really good. And this one, I'm sorry, Paul, but I have to do it. I'm gonna have to do this in the Batman voice, since you like his Teddy Long. You talk about Tensai, deadweight in Ryback. I thought Clay deadweighted Cesaro.
I don't think Clay deadweighted him.
And then, as far as a tag team specialist, I would have to go with Rick Steiner. He's not the tag team partner you need. He's the tag team partner that Gotham wants.
I think you probably stayed up all night thinking about that one, weren't you?
Yeah, I came up. I just had to do the voice. That one's for you, Lou. I know you do it to piss Paul off, and since he backs the Teddy Long impersonation, I threw it out there. That's for you, Lou. I liked his idea. Rick Steiner was good. A lot of people remember him mostly for the Steiner brothers, but he was also in the Varsity Club with he teamed with Dr. Death in the Varsity Club and Sullivan both.
And during the later part of his career,
with Bagwell.
Well, even after that, he did it with, or after, before, around that time, he did it with Tank Abbott, which kind of helped usher Tank Abbott more into a wrestling style than from his old, not UFC, but really what it was.
It was UFC.
Well, it wasn't UFC. Yeah, it was UFC before he was before.
Now, what do you think? Who do you think was the best tag team specialist?
You got a lot of choices, and we'll have to go with Billy Gunn. I like Billy Gunn, the one Billy Gunn. And the thing is, because you look at he was in Smoking Guns. He was the New Age Outlaws, of course. Was it 3 Live Crew?
Billy and Chuck.
Billy and Chuck. He's been in so many. And there's
Shoguns.
Yeah. And we mentioned a guy here, and we didn't even put him in that group too. And I would have to say he's a close second, and I would be Dr. Tom.
Dr. Tom Pritchard? Yeah, that was a good one. My opinion is, it's the only one that matters. Double A. He's double tough.
He is. I mean, honestly, when you put tag team specialists, we were going to call this question, who's the next modern day Arn Anderson? Beforehand. But remember?
Yeah.
We started writing our questions down. But then we did tag team specialists. But Arn is awesome.
Arn Anderson, from the Brainbusters to the Enforcers to anybody he really tag teamed.
Minnesota Wrecking Crew.
The team with his cousin Ole. I mean, him and Flair were a great tag team when they wrestled as a team. I think Arn, even Arn with Pillman. Remember they had a little run with them too as a team. Arn, in my opinion, is the epitome of a tag team wrestler.
And the thing about that, and I'll even go up 1/4 with your Arn, is Arn should have went in the Hall of Fame by himself,
or at least just him and Tully.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't have done the Horseman. I've done the Horseman too, but I think he deserves to be in there by himself, just like Flair did.
Yeah, he definitely does. Now, our question of the week for this week, we kind of did something similar to this on a TNA show a couple weeks back. Which brother do you think is better, Bret the Hitman Hart
or Owen the Rocket Hart?
Let us know what you think. Put it down there in the comments. Down where?
Down there.
Down there in the comments. I gave him his spot.
I hit a home run every time.
And there goes this Mark McGuire impersonation. You gonna shoot up before you do it?
The veins collapsed.
All right, no more Andros. But anyway, did Bret Hart or Owen Hart? Let us know on Twitter. Hit us up on our Facebook. Put it down in the comments. Which one you think is the better of the two? Now, coming off of that, we had a solid tag team match. We had Alberto Del Rio and Dolph Ziggler versus Kane and Daniel Bryan.
Team Hell No.
And it really was good. It was a good, nice builder for Kane and Bryan to win this. They went over on 2 main event type wrestlers. It was a good match. I really liked it.
The only thing I was disappointed in this match is they didn't let Roberto Rodriguez join commentary, since at that point Jim Ross was in the back.
Oh, last week when he did it, he was amazing.
He was. I think the guy has so much talking talent. It just gets overlooked.
Yeah, and most of it's in Spanish, but that helps their demographic too.
But honestly, him there with JBL
would have been awesome.
Exactly. I mean, you can say what you want to about
JBL brings a whole nother flavor to the announce team that's not there when he's not there.
Mm-hmm. Like, remember last week, it was the announcing was kind of stale. Yeah. I'm not talking bad about Jim Ross. I'm not talking bad about Cole, but they need a heel, and
JBL's perfect. I like the crap that he makes up when he's talking about people.
Well, he was during this match. He was talking about Mel Mascaras, talking about how he's glad that his nephew ain't nothing like him. I was like, damn. He just says it like it is.
And speaking of JR, they had the back segment where JR is trying to convince Vince McMahon not to fight CM Punk later in the show, and then Vince had JR say, "What?
Why did you just say McMahon? McMahon."
You're not going to do the JR impression. You're going to do the Vince.
Well, you just told me to say it like that, so I said it the way Vince did. So I was waiting for you to do your Jim Ross.
McMahon, 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 slobber knocker,
Stone Cold.
A nice little throwaway segment kind of made us laugh.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what, dude? Whenever you hear Jim Ross get excited, I don't care where you are, it kind of gives you goosebumps, man. He has that WrestleMania feel all the time. I wish they would just let him call WrestleManias and just get it over with.
And then after that, we had the segment with Larry King interviewing The Miz, which started off pretty boring. Actually, it was altogether boring until Kofi Kingston came out and attacked The Miz.
Well, I liked what Miz did. I mean, he pulled great heel on that.
Yeah.
You know, after right before Larry's wife, you know, put the water or whatever in his face, he was going off on him about divorces, being a failed show host, going off on Kofi.
I've had more championships than you've been in main events, and he's had wives. It was a great line.
Exactly.
And Kofi, if you guys watch, you know I'm really big on Kofi. I'm really happy to see him and R-Truth have split up. They did a video on WWE.com, amicable split, no one turns heel. But Kofi, in this role, I think it's only going to be, I mean, the sky's the limit for Kofi, in my opinion.
Oh, I think so too. I think the kid has a lot of moves.
And a lot of talent.
And a lot of talking ability.
And a lot of untapped potential.
And the thing is, like we were sitting there talking before, is him and Punk are tight.
Yeah.
So you know Punk's got to be in Vince's ear saying, "You gotta watch out for this kid."
Yeah, exactly. And then after that segment, which was probably, other than the CM Punk Vince McMahon stuff, that was my favorite segment just because of Kofi starting to get a push, which I love Kofi Kingston. He's one of my favorite wrestlers right now.
So your other favorite wrestler, Santino and Zack Ryder versus the Rhodes Scholars.
I do like Sandow.
I think they're a great tag team. I mean,
it was good, and Rhodes Scholars went over. They're going to face Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio next week for the #1 contender. It was a decent match, not bad.
You know, and I liked the way they were working. They worked great with each other. They actually helped sell the Cobra a little bit, and still turn it around on Santino.
Exactly. Decent match. And then after that, we had Eve versus Caitlyn, your standard Divas War Fest.
Yeah, Eve won.
And then the highlight of the night.
Yes.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon versus Cookie Monster Punk.
Chick Magnet Punk.
Ooh, don't give him the spoilers,
That's been out before.
Okay. But anyway, CM Punk versus Vince McMahon. To me, I don't care how old he gets, seeing Vince on my screen always brings a level of excitement that's not there when he's not there.
Exactly.
And he is who he is. He's Vincent Kennedy McMahon. He is why we watch this show. And it was a good match, decent hardcore stuff. Vince got busted open, I don't know.
Twice.
His
eye
ear,
and the ear.
Yeah, when he got kicked in the head, his ear got busted open, and I don't know where his eye. I think when they were on the outside, his eye got busted.
I think they did great with each other. I like the way that the Punk attacked him. But even before that, at the beginning of the show, I liked how Punk has the new shirt, and he says, "That's a god awful shirt or ugly shirt,"
And
just ripping into each other.
There's 50 people in the view of you that you could see wearing it in the crowd.
And 50 more probably bought it after hearing that.
Yeah, and the shirt is a good. I really like the design of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably get it if I didn't already have the sheriff badge shirt.
Yeah.
And that leads me to the other thing that I'm getting this week. But anyhow, we'll talk about that a little bit. But it was really good. Punk ends up running away with the world title. Vince says, "I taught you some respect. Now you're going to have to choose between Ryback and John Cena. And if you don't choose by next week," it's Batman again.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Vince. I didn't know.
Nah, I was trying to do Vince, but I went Batman.
I was going to go off screen and get you some lozenges.
I went Batman on accident. I'm sorry. But anyway, Vince says, if you don't choose by next week, I'm going to choose for you. Now, this plays into the arm injury. I think Ryback is the backup if Cena can't. If they know that by next week that Cena can't go, they're going to put Ryback in, I think, which I think is bad for Ryback's career because he's not ready to beat Punk, and Punk beating him is going to damage the build that they have for him.
Unless they do it like this, unless Punk has a own little faction waiting for it, and they just ended a contest or something like that.
Like Brock Lesnar comes out. Or,
exactly.
Or Colt Cabana.
Colt Cabana.
Please bring Colt Cabana.
That's what Punk needs. He needs
Colt Cabana.
He don't need just Colt. He needs a faction.
I'd love to see Colt Cabana though.
I would like to see it too.
Cliff, it would be an easy pickup for them to go. Okay, Colt Cabana, Cliff Compton, come on in.
Mm-hmm.
These are guys that Punk's friends with, and they're on his DVD, which that's another thing. We're gonna, if you're watching this now, probably either later on today or tomorrow, we have the Best in the World on Blu-ray, and we're going to review that and let you know. We're trying to get it out as quick as we possibly can. There's 8 hours of footage on it. We're probably not going to watch the matches. We've seen them all already anyway. But we're going to get a review out either later tonight or tomorrow. And basically, that's all I have for this show. You got anything else you need to add?
Well, we'll see you on the review show, or we'll see you on the TNA episode.
Well, I'm George Coles.
Gary Rhodes.
And this has been Heel Heat.